let's go on to NCAA football. Perfect guy to have on the show for it. Connor Mack is one of our college football experts here. Connor Mack has shows on Wednesdays and Saturdays here at odds.com. Let's talk about it. Middle Tennessee at UTSA. This is at the Alamo Dome. Let's see what we are getting from an odds perspective and then break this down. It was an easy casher on the over yesterday. It was funny. Before the show, I was telling Noli, I was like, the total's down to 45.5. That's ridiculous. I want to take the over. And then by the time I talked about it, it had already gone up a point to 46.5. Other people felt the same way. It was a very easy casher. We both cashed. I cashed on the over, and then Noli cashed on UAB first half. And I should have jumped on UAB first half because I was telling you that. And I didn't want – maybe I spent 7 or 8 minutes watching Lucero clips and a couple of interviews of him, but I was like, this kid's ready for this. Let's go to Middle Tennessee UTSA here. And you know what's funny, CMac, I've made 3 bets in college football so far this year, and only UAB games. Only 3 UAB games. That's what's happened to college football.
Well, you know UAB. You know UAB football now.
I do. Middle Tennessee UTSA. This total opened up at 58. It's up to 61.5 for 62. UTSA opens at minus 6.5. There's 1-7 on the board. My first instinct, and look, this is probably a bias because of what happened yesterday, is why would this total go up that high? That's my first instinct. Let's talk about it here. Clearly, Jeff Traylor has the Roadrunners rolling. Overtime win against Texas State. Then they beat SFA 24-10. They're averaging 498 yards of offense. Their running game is being completely dominant. Sincere McCormick has looked awesome. Frank Harris, he's going to move the ball. UTSA right now averaging over 5 yards per carry. They're averaging 279 rushing yards per game. So there is 2-0 UTSA. Now let's talk about Middle Tennessee. So absolutely nothing's gone right for this squad. And now they have to travel on a short week. And at first I was like, oh, that's awful. Everything's going wrong. They can't get any. They're looking terrible. O'Hara's off to this terrible start. And then what happens is maybe the short week and travel is good for them. Maybe wipe the slate clean. Let's get on the field 3 days later, maybe. They were beaten by Army and Troy badly, 40-plus points each, 400 yards each game. You'd probably see Chase Cunningham because O'Hara's being so bad. They can't move the ball through the air or the ground. On the ground, they're averaging just 81 yards a game. And O'Hara's their leading rusher with 7 carries for 40 yards. Chris Al says Middle Tennessee, top 5 worst teams in the country. Puneet says offensive line for Middle Tennessee is trash. But he's saying they're okay defensively. So you take it away, CMac. You've been studying these teams so much closer than me, so why don't you take it away?
Middle Tennessee looks pretty bad this year. And UT San Antonio's looked pretty well. They've moved the ball a lot. I think this total is a little high here. And I think it's 6.5. UT San Antonio is the play. I know I haven't seen anything in Middle Tennessee those first 2 weeks why you would even want to back them with a touchdown. I mean, they could play get it. O'Hare hasn't done anything, and he's been their whole offense, which has been nothing. Their defense has just got holes all over the place. These are 2 small schools. So the only reason why I don't think it would go over is because I don't know if Middle Tennessee could score much. I mean, you know what I mean? This could be a 50, 52-7. I don't know. Something, you know what I mean? 61.5. A little high.
What would Army or Troy do to UTSA?
They would probably beat them, but they would be playing better from what I've seen. It's so early. This is why it's hard to to really go at this with everything going on with COVID, the kid, you know what I mean? So, and it's hard to say because this is the best UT San Antonio. They're looking for their first 3-0 start in 3 or 4 years. They're not known as a football school, you know. So I don't have a play, but that'd be my lean.
Why is this not UTSA -9?
That I don't know. But I wouldn't question it. I would just take it. I think so. But I'm not big into this. I don't need to have the action. I got Saturday coming up tomorrow. But that's what I'd be looking at. I haven't seen anything in Middle Tennessee. Anything. But they could move it tonight. Maybe they play in a team like this. Texas State, sorry. They went to double OT. And a lot of people like Texas State in that game. And they lost. And there was a lot of points, 51-48. Maybe Middle Tennessee gets right playing against this defense, this Roadrunner defense. So it's just too many questions for me here. And I'm not going to force anything. What were you thinking?
Well, when a team in college football should be, in my eyes, a much bigger favorite than they are, I stay off a side. Or I take the other side. So why is this line not moving? This whole situation is confusing. And when we're talking about small schools and it's confusing, I stay off. Every time that this line has gone to 7, Middle Tennessee's been hammered. And it's gone down to 6.5. It's just so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the under in this football game. It's gone from 58.5 to 62 at some books. I think this is too high. So
it is high. But like you were saying, how much better is Army and Troy than this Roadrunner defense? Maybe Middle Tennessee needs a team like San Antonio. Maybe they'll score a little bit tonight. But total's high. It's, yeah.
All right, well,
I love it.
I'm going to make a move on the under 62. Well, it's 61.5 in my book. I'm going to keep an eye on I'm not going to bet it when the show's over. I'm going to wait, see how high this gets.